Father Michael has heard every sin imaginable: theft, adultery, lies that destroyed families. For 20 years, he sat in the confession box, offering forgiveness, keeping secrets. But tonight, a man confesses to murder, and the victim is Father Michael's brother. The sacred seal of confession says he can't tell anyone. His heart says otherwise. Between God's law and human justice, Father Michael must choose. And in a confession box, there's nowhere to hide from the truth. St. Anthony's Church sat on the corner of 8th and Monroe, a Gothic revival structure built in 1923 when the neighborhood still had hope. Now, a century later, the area had decayed into something darker. Abandoned storefronts, graffiti-covered walls, the kind of streets where police sirens were the evening soundtrack. But the church remained, a stone monument to faith in a faithless place. Father Michael Hayes had served St. Anthony's for 20 years. 52 years old, graying at the temples, reading glasses perpetually perched on his nose. He'd grown up 3 blocks away, in the same house where his younger brother Tommy still lived. Had lived, past tense now, though Father Michael didn't know it yet. Thursday night, 11:30 p.m. The church was empty except for Father Michael, who kept late hours for confession. The neighborhood worked odd shifts: factory workers, night nurses, cab drivers, people who needed forgiveness on schedules that didn't match the daylight world. Father Michael sat in the left side of the confession box, a wooden booth divided by a screen, darkness on both sides. The architecture of anonymity. He'd heard thousands of confessions in this box, knew the rhythms, the pauses, the shame in people's voices. Sometimes he recognized the voices: Mrs. Chun from the grocery, confessing to shortchanging customers; young Marcus, admitting he'd stolen his father's car. Father Michael never acknowledged recognition. The seal of confession was sacred. What was said here stayed here. Always. At 11:47 p.m., the door on the penitent's side opened. Someone entered, sat heavily. Father Michael could see only a dark silhouette through the screen. Male, large build, breathing slightly labored. "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned," the voice said. Deep, rough, unfamiliar. "It's been, I don't know, years, maybe never. I don't remember the last time I was in a church." "That's all right," Father Michael said gently. "God welcomes all who seek him. What brings you here tonight?" A long pause. The man's breathing continued, steady but heavy. "I killed someone," the man said finally. Father Michael had heard this before, 3 times in 20 years. Twice it had been metaphorical. "I killed my marriage. I killed my mother's dreams." Once it had been a genuine confession to vehicular manslaughter, an accident, a moment of inattention that ended a life. Father Michael had offered spiritual counsel, encouraged the penitent to turn himself in, prayed for both victim and confessor. "Tell me what happened," Father Michael said carefully. "Tonight, about 2 hours ago, a man named Tommy Hayes." Father Michael's world stopped. The voice continued, unaware of the earthquake it had just triggered. "He owed money, a lot of money, to people who don't forgive debt. I was sent to collect. He didn't have it. Things escalated." Father Michael's hands gripped the armrests of his chair. His brother, his younger brother by 4 years, the one who'd never quite found his footing, who'd struggled with gambling, with drinking, with making the rent. Father Michael had bailed him out dozens of times. Money, advice, prayers that seemed to fall on deaf ears. "Where?" Father Michael heard himself ask, his voice somehow steady. "His apartment. 3rd floor walk-up on Maple Street. Made it look like a robbery. Cops won't look too hard. Guy like that, neighborhood like this, they'll close it quick." Father Michael's mind raced. Protocol said he should say nothing, offer prayers, assign penance. The seal of confession was absolute. Canon Law 983. The sacramental seal is inviolable. Under no circumstances could a priest reveal what was said in confession. Not to police, not to bishops, not even to save lives. To break the seal meant automatic excommunication. But this was his brother, his blood, Tommy, who used to share his bedroom, who taught Father Michael to ride a bike, who'd been best man at Father Michael's ordination despite not understanding why anyone would choose celibacy and poverty. "Why are you here?" Father Michael asked, his voice tight. "Why confess?" "I don't know," the man said honestly. "My grandmother used to bring me to church. Said confession was how you cleaned your soul. I figured, I don't know, maybe she was right." "Do you feel remorse?" Another pause. "I feel tired. I've done things. This isn't the first. Won't be the last. But something about tonight felt different." The guy looked at me before he died. Really looked. Not scared, just sad. Like he knew it was coming. Like he'd given up. That sounded like Tommy. Father Michael had seen that look on his brother's face so many times. The resignation of someone who'd stopped believing things could get better. "You need to turn yourself in," Father Michael said. "Confession isn't just words. It requires contrition, true sorrow, and it requires you to make amends where possible." "Can't do that, Father. I turn myself in. I'm dead. The people I work for, they don't allow loose ends." "Then what do you want from me?" "I don't know. Forgiveness? Permission to live with it? I don't know what I expected." Father Michael closed his eyes. Darkness inside the booth. Darkness inside his heart. His brother was dead. The killer sat 3 feet away, and Father Michael could say nothing, do nothing, without violating the most sacred vow of his priesthood. "God forgives all who truly repent," Father Michael said, the words mechanical. "But you must turn away from sin. You must choose a different path." "What if I can't?" "Then you're not truly repentant." Silence. Then the man stood. "Thanks, Father. I don't know, maybe a little lighter." The door opened. The man left. Father Michael sat alone in the darkness, his brother's killer's words still echoing in the small wooden space. At midnight, the church door opened again. Father Michael heard footsteps approaching the confession box. A woman this time. She entered the penitent's side. "Forgive me, Father," she said. Voice tired, middle-aged. "I need to confess something terrible." "I'm listening," Father Michael said. "My name is Linda Chun. I own the grocery on 9th Street. You know me, Father. I've been coming here for years." Father Michael said nothing. Recognition wasn't acknowledged. "Tonight, I saw something. I was closing the store late, around 9:30. I was taking out the trash in the alley behind my building. That's when I saw a man leaving the apartment building next door, the one on Maple Street. He was moving fast, looked nervous. He got into a black car and drove away." Father Michael's attention sharpened. "What does this have to do with confession?" I think he'd done something bad. I could tell. The way he moved. And I didn't call the police. I just watched him leave and went back inside. If something happened in that building, if someone got hurt, I could have prevented it. But I was afraid. I didn't want to get involved. "You can still call the police now," Father Michael said carefully. "I know, but I'm scared, Father. This neighborhood, you don't talk to cops. People remember. People punish." Father Michael thought quickly. "Did you see the man clearly? Could you identify him?" "Maybe. It was dark, but I saw his car. Black sedan, older model. License plate started with 7X something. I remember because I used to have a car with a 7X plate." Father Michael's mind raced. This wasn't confession of sin. This was testimony. Information. Linda hadn't done anything wrong. She was expressing fear, asking for guidance. This wasn't protected by the seal. Linda Father Michael said carefully. What you witnessed isn't a sin. Fear is human. But if you have information that could help bring justice, you should consider giving an anonymous tip. You don't have to identify yourself. You think I should? I think doing nothing when you can help is what weighs on your conscience. That's why you're here. Linda was quiet for a moment. Okay, I'll call. Anonymous. Tomorrow. Tonight would be better, Father Michael said gently. Linda left. Father Michael remained in the darkness, a small spark of hope igniting. She'd seen the killer. She had partial plate information. If she called it in, police might. The door opened a third time. 12:17 a.m. Father Michael heard heavy footsteps. A man older, wheezing slightly as he sat. "Father," the voice said. "Familiar. It's me, Detective Ray Chandler." Father Michael recognized him immediately. Ray Chandler, homicide detective, occasionally attended Sunday Mass. They'd spoken a few times. Ray had lost his wife 2 years ago to cancer, had struggled with faith ever since. "I know we're not supposed to use names in here," Ray continued, "but I need to talk to you specifically, not as a detective, as someone who's lost. I'm listening. I just left a crime scene. Tommy Hayes. I know he was your brother, Father. I'm sorry. I know you two were close." Father Michael's throat tightened. Hearing it confirmed made it real. Tommy was dead. His baby brother. Gone. "We're ruling it a robbery gone wrong," Ray continued. "But something feels off. The apartment was tossed, but not thoroughly. Whoever did this wanted it to look like robbery. But they weren't actually searching for valuables. Tommy's wallet was still in his pocket. TV still on the wall. What are you saying? I'm saying it was a hit. Professional. Someone killed your brother deliberately, then staged the scene." Ray's voice lowered. "Tommy owed money. A lot. To the Castellano crew. I've been trying to build a case against them for 3 years. But witnesses don't talk. Evidence disappears. These guys are ghosts." Father Michael's mind whirled. The killer had said the same thing. Tommy owed money to people who don't forgive debt. "Why are you telling me this?" Father Michael asked. "In confession? Because I can't tell you officially. If you know something, anything about who might have wanted Tommy dead, I can't ask. You're his brother. You're too close to the case. But in here," Ray paused. "In here, we're just two men talking, and I thought maybe, as his brother, you might have seen something, heard something. This was it, the moment of choice." Father Michael could tell Ray about the confession. Break the seal, damn his soul, but catch his brother's killer. Or he could stay silent, honor his vows, and let a murderer walk free. "I can't help you," Father Michael said, his voice breaking. "I wish I could. God knows I wish I could." Ray was quiet for a long moment. "I understand. I'm sorry, Father. I shouldn't have put you in this position. I'm grasping at straws here. I want to find who did this." "So do I," Father Michael whispered. Ray left. Father Michael sat in the darkness, alone with his impossible burden. 3 confessions, 3 pieces of a puzzle. The killer's admission, Linda's witness account, Ray's investigation, and Father Michael, trapped in the center, unable to connect them. At 1 a.m., the church door opened one final time. Father Michael almost didn't want to know who would enter now. But footsteps approached, and someone entered the confession box. This voice was young, male, nervous. "Father, I need help. I'm here. My name is David. I'm Tommy Hayes' neighbor. Apartment 3B, right next to his. I heard something tonight, around 9:30. Shouting, Tommy arguing with someone, then a loud sound, like something breaking, or worse." Father Michael's hands trembled. What did you do? Nothing. I was scared. I turned up my TV and pretended I didn't hear. But then everything went quiet. And about 15 minutes later, I heard footsteps in the hallway. Heavy, slow. Someone leaving Tommy's apartment. I looked through my peephole. Saw a guy. Big, maybe 6'2", 6'3". Shaved head. Wearing a leather jacket. He locked Tommy's door and walked away like nothing happened. Did you call the police? No. I was afraid. This neighborhood, man. People who talk to cops end up hurt. I know that sounds cowardly, but it doesn't sound cowardly, Father Michael said. It sounds honest. But now you need to make a choice. You have information that could help find who hurt your neighbor. Staying silent doesn't protect you. It just protects the guilty. What if they find out I talked? Anonymous tip line. You don't have to give your name. David hesitated. Will God forgive me for being afraid? God forgives fear. But he also calls us to courage when it matters most. David left, promising to think about it. Father Michael sat in the confession box until 3 a.m., alone with 4 burdens. His brother's death, a killer's confession, a witness's testimony, and a detective's plea. At dawn, Father Michael walked to the parish office and made a phone call. Not to the police. Not directly, but to Linda Chen's grocery store, where he left a message on the machine. Linda, this is Father Michael. I've been thinking about our conversation. The thing you witnessed. It's more important than you know. If you're going to make that call, please do it today. Someone's family deserves answers. Then he called a second number. The apartment building on Maple Street. Asked for David in 3B. Left a similar message. Father Michael couldn't break the seal of confession, but he could encourage witnesses to come forward. He could nudge the pieces without connecting them himself. 2 days later, Detective Ray Chandler arrested Vincent Russo, enforcer for the Castellano crew. Anonymous tips had provided a partial license plate and a physical description. Security footage from a convenience store 2 blocks away confirmed the vehicle. Ray had his man. Father Michael attended the arraignment, sitting in the back of the courtroom. Saw Vincent Russo in chains. The same voice. The same man who'd confessed 2 nights ago. Ray caught Father Michael's eye afterward, nodded slightly. Justice, if not absolution. At Sunday Mass, Father Michael stood before his congregation and delivered a sermon about silence and complicity, about the courage to speak truth even when it costs us, about the difference between keeping sacred vows and hiding behind them. Mrs. Chun sat in the 3rd pew. David from apartment 3B sat near the back. They'd both called the tip line. They'd both spoken up. Father Michael hadn't told them to, hadn't revealed what he knew, but he'd encouraged their consciences, and their consciences had done the rest. After Mass, Detective Ray Chandler approached Father Michael outside the church. We got him. Vincent Russo. He's not talking, but the evidence is solid. Linda Chen's tip gave us the vehicle. Anonymous call about the description matched our database. Security cameras did the rest. I'm glad, Father Michael said simply. I know you couldn't help officially, Ray said, but I think, somehow, you helped anyway. Father Michael said nothing. Ray didn't push. That night, Father Michael returned to the confession box. 11:30 p.m. His usual hour. He sat in the darkness, waiting. No one came. The church was silent. Father Michael thought about his brother. Tommy, who died alone, afraid, resigned to his fate. Tommy, who'd gambled away his chances, borrowed from the wrong people, run out of road. Father Michael had tried to save him dozens of times, paid his debts, offered counsel, prayed until his knees ached. But you can't save someone who won't save themselves. The confession box sat empty. Father Michael remained anyway, a silent guardian in the darkness. keeper of secrets he could never tell, bearer of burdens he couldn't share. The seal of confession was inviolable. He hadn't broken it, but he'd found the edges, the spaces where truth could leak through without shattering the sacred. His brother's killer was in custody. Justice had been served, however imperfectly, and Father Michael's soul remained intact, though marked forever by the weight of that night. The night he learned that some truths are too heavy for one person to carry, but too sacred to put down. They say confession is good for the soul. Father Michael wasn't sure he believed that anymore. But he believed in the courage of witnesses who spoke up, in the persistence of detectives who wouldn't quit, in the small ways people could do the right thing, even when it cost them. And in a world of darkness, Father Michael thought, maybe that was enough. Maybe small lights, carefully tended, were all anyone could offer. The confession box stayed empty until midnight. Then Father Michael closed the screen, locked the church, and walked home through streets that were no safer than before, but somehow felt a little less dark. Because silence had been broken, not by him, but because of him. And sometimes, that was the only kind of grace anyone could ask for.